Hi everyone, welcome to the second last video of Creativity Inc. and thank you all for your support on Watch a Book series. And in this chapter, the author talks about the Notes Day. As Pixar grows bigger as well as Disney, there were two main problems affecting their operation. First, the cost is going up, and secondly, as they add more people into Disney and Pixar, the culture is changing. And they're trying to move towards a model where it is much cheaper to make a film. Smaller crew, easier to make, more lean, because it takes about 22,000 person week average to make a movie. And their goal was to drop 10% out of that 22,000 person weeks average. But for Pixar animators, there's a great deal of pressure not to fail. And that's why it was very tough for them to reduce the amount of time spent on a movie. And he said that in Pixar, Ed actually allows 2 days a month where he allows all his animators or engineers to work on anything they wanted, because they always feel disconnected to the movie success. For example, especially the engineers who are developing tools, softwares that are being used by animators in the company to produce movies. But as you can see, most of the credits will go to the animators, but not the person that developed that animation tool. So Ed wanted to make everybody feel appreciated in the company, so that they can be given the freedom and the power to build something new that is not related to the work. And Ed Catmull also tells the story where there was a day where he completely shut down the company to work on improvement for each department. He called it the Notes Day. And the purpose of this Notes Day is to gather all the employees to drop their work and try to improve on every area of Pixar operations. They will share the resource. Everybody will come into the same room from different departments, and there's electronic suggestion box for them to fill up the suggestion. And the topics are being divided into several categories. After that, they will gather the most talk about topics from hundreds of the topics that were proposed. And the crowds will be divided into sessions, and the staff will only sign up for the session that they are interested. For example, if they are interested they have ideas on how to keep the company costs low, they will join that group. And in this lengthy chapter, they also talk about the use of red forms, blue forms, and yellow forms. Red forms is being used as the proposal form, blue forms is being used as the brainstorm forms, and yellow forms are needed for the best practices forms. So all these are categorized under the exit forms. This is the forms that you have to fill up after you attended the session. And as you can see from the slide, proposal represents the ideas for practical steps which could be taken. Brainstorms means jumping off points for the generation of future ideas. Best practices list down all the benchmark for the best way of working in any given area. And the presentation of those improvements focus on these 4 areas highlighted in blue. For example, how does this benefit the organization? What are the next steps? Who should pitch this idea? And who should hear the pitch? And they will look at the benefits and the drawback of every suggestion. Then they will see whether it's worth pursuing in the company. If yes, then we work on the next step. If no, then we just drop the idea. And Ed said that the most important thing is to identify passionate people who would take this idea forward. So John and him actually took that 2.5 page of criticism of Pixar and read out all the criticism one by one during the notes day. And he just wants to make sure that there's transparency in the company, and by doing notes day, it also helps to gather different people into one room to work on the best solution for the company. Well, that's all for the last chapter of this book, and in the next video you'll hear more about Ed's opinion on Steve Jobs. Thank you.